A mother, her two daughters, and her little son, crossing the street on what should have been just another day, were suddenly, violently struck down. Their lives ended in a heartbeat. The woman behind the wheel? A Brooklyn TikToker known for selling custom wigs online. But this isn't just a tragic accident. No, this story takes a dark and unsettling turn. Miriam Yarimi, a 32-year-old social media entrepreneur, is now at the center of a case that has horrified an entire community. She wasn't just speeding. She wasn't just reckless. She had a past, a troubling history of traffic violations, bizarre statements, and a shocking claim to first responders that she was possessed when she ran that red light. Was this an accident, or was something far more sinister at play? Today, we dive deep into what happened on that fatal day, who Miriam Yarimi really is, and the disturbing details emerging about her past. We'll also explore the legal consequences she's facing and the growing outrage and the public demanding justice. Stick with me as we uncover the full story of Miriam Yarimi, an influencer whose name is now synonymous with tragedy. Ocean Parkway, Brooklyn, a street many New Yorkers use daily. But on this particular day, it became the site of a tragedy that no one will ever forget. April 2025. It's early evening. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the crosswalk at Avenue J. Natasha Sada, 34 years old, is walking hand in hand with her three young children. Diana, her eldest, is 8. Beside her, little Deborah, just 5 years old, holds onto her mother's hand tightly. And their youngest, 4-year-old Philip, lags slightly behind, taking small, excited steps forward as they cross the street. It should have been safe. The light was in their favor. They were following the rules. But sometimes life and reckless drivers don't care about the rules. At the exact moment Natasha and her children step onto the crosswalk, a black sedan barrels through the red light at full speed. Witnesses later described the horrifying impact, how the car first clipped another vehicle before veering straight into the family. In an instant, lives were shattered. The force of the collision was devastating. Natasha and her daughters were thrown onto the pavement, their small bodies unable to withstand the impact. By the time paramedics arrived, it was already too late. Natasha, Diana, and Deborah were pronounced dead at the scene. Their little boy, Philip, critically injured, was rushed to the hospital, where he now fights for his life. "I heard a loud bang and then screams," one witness recalled. "It was like a nightmare, a mother and her babies, just gone." And then there was the driver, Miriam Yarimi. As first responders rushed to the scene, her behavior left them and the public shocked. Instead of pleading for help or expressing remorse, Yarimi reportedly muttered something chilling. She told the medics that she was possessed, that the CIA was following her, that this wasn't her fault because someone was controlling her. Was she delusional? Was she trying to escape responsibility? Or was there something deeper going on? Because here's the thing, this wasn't her first time breaking the rules. In fact, it was far from it. Miriam Yarimi had a history of dangerous driving, ignored red lights, and thousands of dollars in unpaid fines. And yet, she was still behind the wheel that day. Miriam Yarimi's troubled history. Miriam Yarimi wasn't just an ordinary driver who made a fatal mistake. No, her record tells a different story. One of repeated recklessness, ignored warnings, and a legal system that failed to stop her before it was too late. On social media, Yarimi was known for something completely different, her custom wig business. With a significant following on TikTok, she marketed herself as an entrepreneur, crafting high-end wigs and selling them to clients across the country. She built a brand, engaged with her fans, and seemed like just another influencer living the American dream. But behind the scenes, Miriam Yarimi had a secret, a dangerous one. Her reckless driving history was extensive. 21 speeding violations, 5 red light tickets, a mountain of fines exceeding $10,500. And still, she continued to drive like the rules didn't apply to her. Think about that for a moment. 21 times she was caught speeding. 5 separate times she blew past red lights. And how many times did she do it and simply not get caught? How many lives did she endanger before she finally took 3 innocent lives? At the time of the crash, Yarimi wasn't even supposed to be driving. Her license was suspended. But just like she had ignored traffic laws before, she ignored this too. And the system? It failed to keep her off the streets. Had she been held accountable earlier, Natasha Sada and her children might still be alive today. Past legal issues, a troubling pattern. And here's where things take an even stranger turn. In 2024, Yarimi had another run-in with the law, this time for behavior that raised serious concerns about her mental health. According to reports, she had been detained by NYPD officers after displaying erratic behavior. Instead of cooperating, she allegedly threatened to sue the department, claiming she was being unfairly targeted. The details of this case remain murky, but what's clear is that she had a history of instability, one that perhaps should have been a red flag long before the crash. Mental health and reckless driving are a dangerous combination. Experts say individuals who exhibit erratic behavior on and off the road pose a significant risk, not just to themselves, but to everyone around them. So, was Yarimi's bizarre claim of being possessed just an attempt to escape responsibility, or was it an indicator of something deeper? That's the question haunting Brooklyn today. And as Yarimi faces justice, the legal battle ahead will determine whether the system finally holds her accountable. Legal charges and possible consequences. Now, Miriam Yarimi isn't just a TikToker or an influencer. She's a defendant, facing the full force of the law. And the charges against her? They're serious. Asterisk, here's what she's currently facing. 3 counts of manslaughter, each one carrying a potential sentence of 5 to 25 years in prison. Reckless driving, a serious offense given her history. Driving with a suspended license, which proves she knew she wasn't supposed to be on the road. Failure to yield to pedestrians, a charge that alone could carry hefty penalties. So what does this mean for Yarimi's future? Could she be facing decades behind bars? Legal experts, including Perry Folick, weigh in. Perry Folick. Given her history, prosecutors are likely to push for the maximum sentence. She was not only reckless, but knowingly reckless. She had been fined repeatedly, warned repeatedly, and yet she still got behind the wheel. That's going to make a jury see her as more than just negligent. It makes her actions seem almost deliberate. How similar cases have been handled in NYC. This isn't the first time New York has seen a reckless driver take innocent lives. In 2018, a similar case made headlines when Dorothy Bruns, another driver with a long record of traffic violations, ran a red light in Brooklyn, killing 2 young children. She was charged with manslaughter and later took her own life before trial. In many of these cases, the courts have been criticized for being too lenient, allowing repeat offenders to stay on the roads. Will Yarimi's case be different? Or will she, too, slip through the cracks of the justice system? For the family of Natasha Sada and her children, no sentence will ever bring them back. But justice must be served. And as the trial unfolds, Brooklyn and the world will be watching. What do you think? Should traffic laws be stricter to prevent tragedies like this? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want to see more in-depth coverage of cases like this, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's talk justice, heartbreak, anger, a demand for change. In the days following the tragic deaths of Natasha Sada and her children, the Brooklyn community has been grieving, but they're also asking one painful question. How was Miriam Yarimi still allowed behind the wheel? Community outrage and mourning for the victims. Brooklyn resident number 1. She had 21 speeding tickets, 21, and 5 red light violations. How do you let someone like that continue to drive? This was preventable. Brooklyn resident number 2. That mother was just trying to cross the street with her kids. They had the right of way, and now they're gone. And for what? Because one woman thought the rules didn't apply to her. The sorrow isn't just in Brooklyn. Across the country, people are watching this case unfold, many of them parents who know how easily this could have been their family. Lawmakers push for stricter traffic laws. In response to the outrage, lawmakers are now pushing for stricter traffic laws. Proposals that could prevent repeat offenders like Yarimi from ever getting behind the wheel again. We are considering new measures, including mandatory speed limiting devices for drivers with multiple violations. If someone has a history of reckless driving, their car simply won't be able to speed. We also need tougher penalties, because right now, a few tickets clearly aren't enough to stop dangerous drivers. This case is shining a light on a much bigger problem: the leniency in how repeat traffic offenders are handled. Some are calling for a permanent license revocation for drivers with multiple violations. Others believe the system needs real enforcement, because as we've seen, fines alone don't stop reckless behavior. The numbers don't lie. Repeat offenders don't stop unless they're forced to. But will this case finally be the wake-up call lawmakers need to take action? Social media reactions, TikTok, Twitter, and the debate online. On social media, the response has been overwhelming. Thousands of people have taken to TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram to express their outrage, not just at Yarimi, but at a system that allowed this to happen. At Brooklyn Parent, my heart is breaking for this family. This was preventable. If you have 21 speeding tickets, you shouldn't be driving. At Justice for Sada, repeat offenders equals automatic jail time. No excuses. Change the laws now. At TikTok user, I used to follow Miriam Yarimi's wig videos. I cannot believe this. How does someone go from making beauty content to killing a family? TikTok user number 1. This is why we need actual consequences for reckless drivers. You don't get to just keep racking up violations like they're Pokemon cards and then act shocked when tragedy strikes. TikTok user number 2. I hope she rots in jail. There's no excuse for this. And claiming you were possessed? Come on. While many believe Yarimi should face the harshest penalties possible, others argue that her behavior suggests deeper mental health concerns. Could her bizarre claim that she was possessed indicate psychosis? Was this an untreated mental health crisis that spiraled out of control? When someone claims something as unusual as being possessed after committing a crime, it raises questions about their mental state. Was this a moment of delusion? Had she exhibited signs of instability before? And most importantly, if mental illness played a role, does that lessen her accountability? It's a controversial question, because at the end of the day, regardless of her mental state, 3 innocent lives were lost. So how should justice be served? 3 lives taken in an instant, a mother and her children gone forever, and a community left to ask why? Let's break it down one last time. Miriam Yarimi had a history of reckless driving, 21 speeding tickets, 5 red light violations, and a suspended license. She ignored every warning and continued to drive, leading to this devastating crash. Now, she faces serious charges, including manslaughter and a possible long-term prison sentence. The public is demanding justice, and lawmakers are being pressured to change traffic laws before more lives are lost. This case raises so many questions. Should repeat traffic offenders face automatic license revocations? Should speed-limiting technology be mandatory? And do we need tougher criminal penalties for reckless drivers? I want to hear from you. Do you think Yarimi should receive the maximum sentence? Should traffic laws be reformed? Or do you believe her mental health should be considered in her sentencing? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into real-life cases like this. Because stories like these aren't just news, they're a wake-up call.